Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. We haven't done enough of those lately.
Well, no, but I mean, we're getting tired of talking about Disney. So there's that too.
Everybody's getting tired of Disney, but we're going to talk about this. Disney shareholders are demanding answers on a controversial disability access change at Disney parks. And Geeky is going to lead this one. She's the one who still keeps on top of Disney news. I actually am so checked out from Disney that I'm vaguely aware of what's going on. But this is a pretty interesting situation.
That's me, always on top of Disney. Anyway, so yeah, there's something there is something a little bit concerning about this beyond the DAS stuff that I'm going to talk about. But apparently there was a shareholder who had filed a petition, a proposal, you know, the ones they vote at the annual meeting.
Right.
A proposal about having a independent third party come in and analyze the DAS pass requirements. Because as you know, if you listen to our channel, they changed the DAS pass requirements, and now it's almost impossible for people to get a pass, disability access pass. Only certain people, and it's like severe extreme cases where you can't wait in line because of autism or things like that, are allowed through it. Even that's not a catch-all, because a lot of people were saying that they have children that can't wait in line and they won't give them a pass. People who have conditions that literally mean that they should not be standing in line are not being allowed to have it. They're just willy-nilly deciding who can have this, and it's led to a class action lawsuit and all kinds of problems, and people have been complaining, and Disney's answer to everyone was, well, just pay for the expensive upcharges, and then use a lightning lane, and practice waiting in line, things like that.
Yep.
So this person wanted to do a proposal, and then Disney was going to the SEC to try to get the proposal that they didn't have to present it, which we're going to talk about. And then, but it might not matter. And this is where the kicker is that I'm worried about, because the SEC changed their rules now. So it might not even be a case where Disney has to run proposals past them to deny them.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I wonder how much other stuff Disney's going to get away with now because of these changes. So we're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
All right. So take it away. Walk me through this.
Okay. So take it away. Okay.
Take it away.
So, I thought I already did. So yeah, this was from WDW News Today, and I have links to the stuff. But they're saying that the disabled Disney shareholders urging the company to review the impacts of their DAS overhaul at the parks. But a recent rule at the SEC is helping Disney block the shareholders' resolution. So what's going on? So there is a shareholder, and they basically said, and they started out with this statement, which is true: Disney's brand and financial stability are under strain from underperforming films, rising park costs, consumer boycotts, and waning trust. That's, I would argue, all true.
Yeah.
On February 2025 quarterly call, Disney reported the Parks and Experiences division experienced lower volumes tied to attendance. And they're saying a significant contributor to the company's recent overhaul of disability accommodations at its parks. They're saying basically trying to argue that due to negative press, social media critique, pending class action lawsuit, reports of customers canceling vacations and passes, mishandling disability access risks, eroding guest loyalty.
The list just keeps on.
Yeah, it goes on and on.
God.
So they make this huge list about all this stuff. And what they want to see is shareholders request that Disney commission an independent review conducted by a qualified third party of the company's accessibility and disability inclusion practices. This review should assess legal, financial, and reputational risks, evaluate Disney's policy against international accessibility standards and competitors, and identify opportunities for leadership improvement. Shareholders further request that the board provide a public summary of the internal briefing on the findings to ensure accountability and transparency. Which is kind of like a fair ask, you know.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of problems, you know, provably related to the changes. Now, to be fair, DAS was provably being abused a lot too.
Yeah, that's why they changed it, because for the longest time it was basically just a infinite cheat code for fast passes.
They didn't change it for that reason. I don't believe they did. They changed it because they realized that they could sell a lot more Lightning Lane if they told all these people that were getting DAS they could, their accommodation was by Lightning Lane.
Well, okay. So that is what was on officially their explanation was, oh, people
the
are
abuse,
abusing it,
and
we
there
have
was
to change it. Yeah.
abuse, but the problem was there are a lot of people now who actually legitimately should qualify that are being denied, and people are canceling trips and not going because they're not going to be able to get adaptive plans for them.
Right.
And some of what Disney offers, there's upcharges, or they give you the runaround, and sometimes they were downright rude according to people. I can't vouch for that, just talking anecdotally. So they sent this request in. So then Disney then went over to the SEC, because up until November 17th, you had to get the SEC's permission to deny a petition like this, a proposal, to go forward to the voting meeting. So they didn't want this to go through because they're like, well, it's false and misleading, because they said that, that they're facing lower attendance and waning trust, and they're talking about, different things here about the class action lawsuits, and other companies are getting multi-million-dollar settlements and all that. Well, they don't want that to go to shareholders, because it's like, oh, that'll make our stock drop. Not that it can drop much lower, Disney.
Right.
So they're saying it's a bunch of lies. It's material, false, and misleading. Oh, and it also relates to the company's business operations, so they shouldn't have to include it. Well, the problem is well, it's not a problem for Disney, but for everybody else, is the SEC has changed their rules. Okay, the SEC has now changed it, and it was immediate. That the Division of Corporate Finance announced it will no longer review company attempts to exclude shareholder proposals, except in some state law circumstances. It took effect immediately, so Disney no longer needs the SEC's approval to exclude the resolution. So that's just one resolution. How many other resolutions are going to come in, and then Disney's going to find some reason to not include any of them?
Look, Disney does not want to listen to their shareholders. We know this. I think a lot of companies don't, because the shareholders are going to tell them things they don't want to hear. But I remember that they used to always have kind of an open mic for shareholders during their earnings calls and stuff. And now it doesn't seem like they do that very often.
It's just the big investment firms, and that's the only ones that ask questions.
Yeah, Morgan Stanley and whatever, you guys can talk. But, hey, you nuns or you teachers, the
annual meeting, they do allow comments and stuff, but they used to be that you could do it. Now it's like you have to submit it. It's pre-recorded answers.
And it's got to be vetted. It's got to be approved, because they don't want anybody to blindside Bob Iger with a question he can't answer.
But up until, and this isn't going to just affect Disney, other companies too. Up until just like a couple weeks ago, people that were shareholders were allowed to send in proposals, and sometimes they were just downright stupid proposals, let's be honest. But they were allowed to send in proposals and present their proposals during the meeting, and then they could be voted on. Then you hear Disney be like, the board recommends voting no to this proposal. But any proposal they said, the board recommends voting yes to our, pay and things like that. People would say, we want more transparency in what you're getting paid. We want transparency on where your money's going for DEI. We want transparency on this, that, and the other. And they would always end with, the board recommends that you vote no to this proposal. And now when people ask for clarity on these things as a proposal, Disney's just going to say, hell no, I don't have to allow it in, because the SEC says, as long as it's not violating state laws, the company can decide if they just want to throw it out the window. So I won't be surprised at all if we don't see any proposals other than Disney's own proposals at the annual meeting, because they're just tossing them out right and left if they don't agree with it.
Yeah.
They'll be allowed to now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just be like, we don't want any feedback. No. That's a one-way street. You give us money, we do what we want with it, and that's it.
So Disney, they're like saying it's lying and everything. The guy who submitted it, Eric Paul, he sent a rebuttal to the SEC. It doesn't matter now, because now the rules have changed since Disney's comments on the 4th. And in the rebuttal, they said, Disney has long told stories where the powerless rise, villains fall, and wrongs are made right. The brand is built on magic, inclusion, and the belief that it's inclusion only when it's DEI practices for higher up, and the belief that every voice deserves to be heard. Yet now, in a twist worthy of its darkest tales, God, I'm sorry, dude. Who writing this is like, they should hire you to write some of the write-ups for the Disney attractions or the stuff for sale in their store, because this is worthy of that. In a twist worthy of its darkest tales, the company risks becoming the villain of its own story, using newfound power to silence the very shareholders it should be listening to. Disney now faces a clear choice: live up to the values it sells to the world, or step into the role of villain, silencing the disabled community. I'm like, dude, they've been in the role of villain for a while. they've been being a villain to a lot of people. You just get in line, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because here's the thing. When you're a company like Disney, you're going to have people lining up to take a hit, right? And they're going to air their grievances. And, everybody talks about how you don't hear much about Disney accidents because they make it go away. And people are always threatening to sue them. But, this is the same Disney that, will crush you if you try to, fight them in court. I mean, absolutely destroy you. So it's kind of a tale of two companies here, but
but it's funny because you want to use DEI and inclusion
to look
one of their pillars
inclusive, and it's all for show. It's all for show. We know that because as soon as their stock value started dropping, as soon as the box office started dropping, they walked a whole bunch of stuff back. They're like, yeah, we got to make money.
Even during the pandemic, it went from your family, your cast members, or family to employees.
That was the biggest eye opener, I think, for a lot of people. I'm like, no, we started to see it before. Like I fully believe up until about 2018-ish, 2017, 2018, that Disney really did, the company culture really did view you as being family. But then there was a definite shift and it became Iger Co. And then, the pandemic was a huge eye opener for a lot of people. They're like, we thought we were family. I'm like, yeah, surprise. They're sending the adopted kid back to the orphanage. They don't care about you.
That's just it. It's like they've been showing people who they are. They've been showing people what, they feel about people, the families and the customers and stuff for years now. This is nothing new. They've already been a villain. They keep trying to say that they're not, but that's how they're coming across a lot of people, which is why their stock keeps dropping, which is why their attendance is down. And the other reason they have a lower attendance, but they're making more money because they're charging those guests more to offset it. So, and then charging things for Lightning Lane, and immediately after the DAS change, their Lightning Lane rates shot up. I mean, it's not just in how much it cost, but in how much they made. So it's a whole thing. But do I think what they said was categorically false like Disney said? No, I think it's very true what they said. But I don't think Disney's going to change it. And now they're not even required to put it as a vote. So what else are they going to not let through now? Because they want you to vote no on it, so they just won't include it.
Unlimited power.
Yeah, basically. So my takeaway from this, besides the fact that the DAS thing is definitely newsworthy, my takeaway is that Disney now has the ability to, unless it's involving state laws, they're allowed to just say no to any proposal that's sent in by a shareholder.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that is a more concerning thing that the people need to look at. They could just be like, hey, it doesn't really affect me, the DAS pass thing or whatever. But I'm like, no, this is if you're a shareholder and Disney just has the power to just completely ignore you. I mean, we already knew that they were, but now they just don't even have to.
And it's not just Disney. This is going to apply to every company that, would have to report to the SEC. That they basically don't have to look. The company doesn't have to run shareholder proposals past them anymore if they want to exclude them.
Invest in crypto, not stock.
I don't know. I'm just saying this is where it's at. So I thought that was interesting enough to mention, mostly because of the change of the SEC that's going to impact Disney and a lot of other companies that they can just say no. We're not going to include it anymore because we don't want to, because we know you're not even going to present to the shareholders just what our proposals are. So anyway, there you go.
There you go, guys. We gonna wrap this one up?
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.